Yeah, good to see you guys. How are you?
Doing well. We don't want to waste any good content here, so we'll just let you know how this rolls. And
All right. Are we
do some
recording?
jokes.
We're doing it?
Yeah, well, it's recording, but not for the podcast quite
You
yet.
guys trim it? You guys
intro,
cut
yeah.
out? Got it. Okay, just checking.
Well, kind of. Well, there'll be a joke about that too. We just do jokes, like literally, like kind of like monologues. So you laugh, or shake your head, or bounce, or make fun of us, or tag them and riff on them for a second, interrupt. No worries.
Okay.
And then we just BS for a while. About nothing in particular. And then at the top, are you doing anything live comedy wise?
Not yet. No, not yet. I mean, I'm planning. I've been talking to a lot of different clubs and stuff, and even with the radio station, planning kind of like a big comeback show that we can intertwine with the station, and hopefully sell out. Like a TCC and stuff. But until I'm vaccinated and shit, I don't even want to. And also, I guess we can get into that more. But I want to create a whole new set. I'm tired of those old jokes finally. So I think I need to actually give myself like 6 months to fucking open mic and, redo that. So
sure. Well, yeah, say that when we talk. You can just say that on the live when we mention live dates. And then do the Chalet Theater again in Enumclaw when you are back out.
Oh yeah, dude.
He just had us, and it was easy to sell tickets. So.
Yeah, I bet it's gonna be pretty. I was thinking about that. It's gonna be pretty easy to sell tickets your first kind of round back out, just because everyone's dying to get out, dude. Like,
for sure. Especially in places like Enumclaw. So.
Yeah, literally.
All right, we'll get started. I'm actually gonna do a big pause. Makes it easier to find on the thing when I'm scrolling through. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Homeschool, the podcast where Andrew Rivers and I, Corey Michaelis, talk about, or we do some jokes, monologue jokes, and then we talk about what's going on in the world and our social lives. So just what's going on in the world. Each week we have a guest who joins us to be our audience and then BS is with us. And this week that guest is Jose Bolanos.
Yay!
Hello, Jose, everybody.
Whee! Love that dude.
Very excited to have him. Andrew's working on a sound effect that we can't hear.
Is it booze? You added booze, didn't you? You son of a bitch, Andrew. I can't hear your audio.
He presses it twice and then it.
Well, so, I don't know why it does that. It should
be fine. There it is.
I can hear it coming out of the headphones, but it doesn't. Doesn't stick for some reason.
We lost all of our listeners, but hey, Jose is here. We're glad to have you. We'll get into the jokes here in a minute, but do you have any live dates? First of all, hilarious Jose on all the social media apps, I believe. Even OnlyFans, and he's on the radio every morning on what's the name of the show now? I'm an idiot because I'm
glad you're not going to get it wrong. It's Brooke and Jeffrey in the morning.
Brooke and Jeffrey in the morning. All
right. We're on over 50 stations across the country. We're based in Seattle, but yeah, find a station near you. BrookeandJeffrey.com. And that's why you can find the closest location to you.
That's really awesome.
I forget to mention this. We're international. We're in Canada. We're in Ottawa and Edmonds. So if you're up north, holler at us too.
All right.
Damn.
I think Edmonton probably, but also Edmonds, Washington.
Edmonds is up north.
Also them, because Edmonds is in Washington and they can also hear us. See, covering all the bases.
Andrew and I had a busy weekend this weekend. The Chalet Theater in Enumclaw, Tacoma shows tonight. I had shows Friday night. But what do you got coming up there, Andrew? Anything?
April 1st in Salem, Oregon, and then that's pretty much it for till like probably the end of April. So,
Okay. Not an April Fool's joke. Just show up.
Nope, just gonna have a slow couple months, which is good. I think.
Ease back into it.
Couple pieces of the act I need to rework after this little tour here.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Wise Guys, Ogden, Utah, March 19th and 20th, and then actually, you are doing a show April 2nd when you get back from Salem, unless you don't want to drive all that way.
Well, I think you said it wasn't maybe confirmed, but I'll take it.
Oh yeah, baby, it's confirmed. Well,
nice.
I just Friday night.
You just got booked, right? Live on the podcast, bro. Look at you, Andrew.
Dreams happen.
You just added a show to your calendar. Congrats.
It's like he showed up to my chore with a giant check, you know. I won the Publishers Clearinghouse.
This is like LinkedIn visual.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and do the jokes, but first, before we start them, a little bit of a 3-second pause because we're bad at editing.
All right. Hey, welcome to Homeschool Podcast with Corey Michaelis and Andrew Rivers, episode 33. Can't believe we're still going. They haven't kicked us off the internet yet, even though they're not allowed to. But hey, Texas is announcing an end to the mask mandate in 1 week. I'm sure everyone will calmly obey all the rules for just one final week, you know, just like they have from the start.
Yeah.
I know you Texans like to rebel against the government. Hey, now's your shot. Wear a mask. Go get a shot.
Yeah, most Texans wear a mask over their eyes because they can't see the government's lying to them, man.
Yeah. Lone Rangers out there. The Texas mask mandate officially goes away on March 10th. All businesses back to 100% if they want, but most stores and shops will require masks still. Only seedy places like bars and comedy clubs are going to fill up.
Perfect. That's what we do. But yeah, it is certainly more dangerous. But I also, it's been a year. You know, we know the game. Healthy people survive this. If we're being honest with safety, it might be more effective to limit the number of Big Macs you eat. I think restaurants should only serve you 25% of your food. Those are the restrictions we need.
Ooh, that's a quarter of a quarter pounder. We've had a year, by the way, to eat more vegetables, and we did nothing. Next week,
get around to it.
Texas has kind of led the way, and its dumber little siblings, Mississippi and Alabama, are following right along in its lead in this 100% open thing.
Wow, I thought they were a little more than siblings, though, if you catch my drift.
Oh, yeah, down south.
Oh, stepbrother. Oh, I'm stuck in the dryer.
I dropped my mask.
Yeah. We're quarantined together. We might as well. I'm telling you a lot about my search history right now, but that's all right. Sometimes I wonder if, like, by performing in crowds but never getting too close to anyone, I'm like bathing in clouds of like loose corona, you know? So like maybe I've been exposed to little parts of the virus, but never enough to actually get me sick. But I still get immunity at the end, you know? Kind of like how the government lies to you over and over to the point where you're completely unbothered, or how constant rejection from women got me ready to be a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, just the tiny micro things.
Yeah,
a little.
Why don't you, I mean, honestly, we could just go to China if you don't like the rules here. That's what I said to people. China, though, is forcing mandatory anal swabs for people who travel in from outside the country. Ugh.
Wow. I think I'll take 100% open and a few less grandparents.
Well, Texas isn't the only thing wide open. Swab my asshole, China.
Let's go.
Like
in an interview with NBC News, a Texas ICU nurse broke down crying and said she fears for what's next. Sounds like someone is ungrateful to have job security.
Yeah, go back to making TikToks, right?
Oh my God.
That's why, as a teacher, I never complain to people about all the kids that are dumb, right? They're my meal ticket.
Yeah.
Very
if the
true.
kids get smart, Corey's out of a job.
That's right. Don't Google anything.
Wait, the answers are in the book the whole time? Who knew?
I tore those pages out. So they.
No, but I mean, if they read the book, that's
Yeah. Oh, shit, yeah.
Corey's like, of course. How do you think I know the answers?
That's right.
one day smarter.
One day smarter than 14-year-olds. The reason Texas decided to open up is because Houston is the first city to collect all COVID variants. They're like the Marvel Infinity Stones. You collect them all, and then half the people in the city just die.
They turn into dust, crematoriums. All right. Joe Biden called reopening a Neanderthal thinking. Republicans are, of course, pretending to be offended, but Neanderthals had a life expectancy of 35 years and often died of infection or preventable illness. I think the metaphor is perfect.
Yeah, it's really good. But it's not going to help to call it that. Anyway, Republicans are so anti-science, they don't believe in Neanderthals. To them, God only made one type of human, white ones.
Can we do every podcast with Jose?
No, that was a good one. That
such
was
a
nice
perfect laugh
punchline.
track.
I'm into it. This is great, dude.
Oh, thanks. Seattle has the lowest rate of COVID deaths per population of any of the top 30 major U.S. cities. I wish I could go back and find those Facebook arguments from a year ago when they called Jay Inslee Hitler. I believe I wagered several people that Washington would have lower numbers than most. I could get a third stimulus check with the winnings from these Facebook douches.
Hey.
Yeah. Not like they would ever pay me, but hey, good news, Corky. Seattle is going to prioritize teachers for the vaccine. I guess that makes sense, but my teachers never got close to me. They've never paid enough attention to get within 6 feet of me. So I feel like, fuck them.
Well, that explains a lot. I also got my shot this morning, by the way.
Did you really?
I did. I'm all
First or
shot up.
second?
And sorry, I meant heroin, but
And then you're like 15th.
April 3rd, baby.
It's a habit now.
So I can substitute teach one day this year.
He got
nice.
Don't
Dude,
at
that's
me.
good.
I'm excited. Let's see. As teachers, we have this saying, Andrew. It's that if we're hard on you and pay a lot of attention to you, it's because we see potential.
So they didn't see potential in me. So, well, careful. Last time you saw potential in a student, you had to settle that lawsuit. Corey, you're supposed to be hard on students, not show them you're hard on for students.
Shit. Well, tutor, I barely even know her.
Hey, come on.
But
actually, they
crickets.
Actually, they told me to stay 100 yards away from all schools. They're just really looking out for those kids. They don't want me giving them COVID, right?
Yeah, that's a good.
That's why, yeah.
The city of Seattle, speaking of Seattle, has created a standby list for some residents 65 and older. Who can just be ready at a moment's notice to spring into action and travel to get a COVID-19 vaccine. Awesome. Now we're going to have to use unused vaccines and unread text messages. You'd better off sending a whole chain letter to all them in their AOL account, right? If you don't pass this on, you'll die of COVID by midnight. They're just on their phone like, I don't...
Speaking of stimulus checks, if you're still waiting, it's because in order to delay the bill from passing, Republicans are reading the full 628 pages before they can allow a vote, which took 12 hours, making it the first time anyone in Congress has actually read one of their bills.
You're probably right.
600.
I wouldn't read it. Pages. 600 pages? It's probably a bunch of shit.
Jeez.
12 hours? Man. That's a lot of pages per minute. I hope it was a pop-up book, or some of those Republicans are not going to understand it.
Yeah, this bill is like a J.K. Rowling book. Republicans will only support it if it has something mildly transphobic in it. But
That's what they're looking for.
yeah, Harry Potter was a lady. I don't know. Biden doesn't want to cancel student debt because he says it will be unfair if people who went to Harvard got their debt canceled. Nobody attending Harvard is taking on student debt. I think your dad has to build a library just to get them to look at your application.
Literally.
Bush got into Yale. I think they're fine.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
He's still paying them off, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's just doing, like $100 a month or what, just like everyone else.
Well, he doesn't. He can't write a book, so he's got to.
Oh, there you go.
All the other presidents.
Well, he invaded Iraq and stole a bunch of shit there, so probably.
Oh, okay, he's fine. Biden also said the vaccine should be to every American adult by the end of May. Two of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world, Merck and Johnson & Johnson, who are usually competitors, are working together on the distribution of the vaccine. Hey, there's some unity for you that they're looking for. Both sides coming together across the aisle. Merck had 2 vaccine trials fail, though, and it still gets to contribute. It's kind of nice. Like, let's give the easy stuff to the dumb kid. It's like making your 2-year-old daughter a flower girl at the end of the wedding, or Jose, look, it's not that hard. Just run around and toss these shitty petals everywhere.
I'd still mess it up. Stop eating the petals, Jose.
That's why no one invites you to weddings anymore.
That's why, yeah.
Why won't anyone
Always
love
the flower
me?
girl, never the bride.
I show up in the little dress just in case. I'm like the on-call.
Oh boy. Well, Dr. Seuss isn't the only one getting canceled after this podcast.
Right?
Crazy. They're coming after Dr. Seuss. I thought healthcare workers were heroes. Now we're canceling doctors. It's ridiculous.
It's he's not even a doctor, Andrew.
Oh yeah, that's the joke.
Oh, I just always have to check in. I always gotta double check. Dr. Seuss is having 6 of his books discontinued from publishing due to racially insensitive material in them. In hindsight, we should have seen these coming based off the names of the books alone. For example, The Cat in the MAGA Hat was kind of a bad look, right?
Yeah. I mean, that one wasn't too bad. I thought the worst one was If I Ran a Zoo, it would be Mexicans in cages. That was just uncalled for, I think.
Oh my God.
Wrote that one for Jose.
That was really solid.
I kind of liked Horton Hears a QAnon.
Yeah, that had a good happy ending. 6 out of 60 books.
It's got like 100 different, books in that series because it keeps getting postponed. That
yeah. They're like March 6th, the new one comes out.
Yeah. The next book comes out in 3 weeks. We swear.
Just keep buying. 6 out of 60 books aren't going to be published. Isn't that just free market capitalism? I think Republicans would love that.
Yeah. People are just making the decisions on what they like best. Well, the racist ones actually might hate it.
Yeah, well, so that's all of them. But
okay. Well, if you are racist, listen up. Get your eBay account ready. These books are selling like hotcakes for thousands of dollars on eBay right now.
Who is still reading books, by the way? You can get someone to read it to you on YouTube for free. Judging by how many people yell super spreader at me for not wearing a mask on an outdoor hike, I think the only book people read anymore is Facebook.
That's true.
Yeah.
This whole thing has caused a lot of men that I've seen to complain that Cardi B's WAP is the #1 song in America, but Dr. Seuss is banned. It's bullshit, What a world. Imagine being so much of a cuck that you like Dr. Seuss more than wet pussy.
These are a few of my favorite things. Actually, that reminds me, my favorite Dr. Seuss book was The Jimmy Hat in the Cat.
Oh my God.
That works, but
almost.
Rhymes.
it's called a cat in the Jimmy hat. Anyway, but
I don't actually think that you ever wore a Jimmy hat. So
I don't know how they. I've never had sex, so
Yeah, obviously, because the cat doesn't go into the Jimmy. That you go into the cat.
right. That's
it
why I
works
was trying to say
differently.
the Jimmy hat in the cat, but then it messes up the rhyme of the book and the parody. You know, it's a tough.
Got it.
You make certain choices for jokes, and they don't always work out.
I'm glad we dissected it. It's way funnier now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's how my parents tried to teach me about the birds and the bees. They're like, read Dr. Seuss.
This book is weird. They should ban it in 30 years.
So I come on her eggs and they turn green. I don't know how this works. Study says Dr. Seuss only had 2% of humans in his book characterized as people of color. I don't know that a land with an imaginary talking cat realism is the best thing to fight over.
Yeah, it's a decent point. I mean, the eggs were green in his book. I mean, I don't think he really had it all.
Let's cut Dr. Seuss a break. The guy was born in 1900. We didn't exactly get around to not being racist until just a few years ago. And
True.
And in his defense, racial slurs are really easy to rhyme with. Which reminds me of my favorite book. Never.
Oh my God.
I'm not even going to start it.
Okay. Hey, this is just like George Orwell predicted in 1984. Way back when.
Well,
George Orwell. Sorry, I just got that one.
I've never read the book. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. Surprised he hasn't been canceled yet for
Animal Farm.
Yeah, you know, those animals really represented.
I do think that these books can be influential on children. You know, I think I probably became such a socialist because the book my parents always read me was called The Giving Tree.
Yes. And I always try to murder kids because of Lord of the Flies. Dr. Seuss's stepdaughter said that she hopes the publishing house will eventually start reprinting the books, you know, because his body of work is unique. And also, I've already spent most of the royalties.
Right.
Cancel culture is just getting out of control. The Buckingham Palace is launching an investigation into allegations that Meghan Markle bullied former aides. What the fuck? You're not even allowed to be a princess anymore? Like, no wonder she wanted to leave the royal family. If you can't belittle your servants, what the fuck is the point of having them?
Right?
Yeah. Great point.
God damn it.
So true.
I'm not calling you a servant. I was assuming.
No, dude, if I was royal, I'd be a dick, bro. You guys all better pray I don't get rich because I'll forget all you motherfuckers and just be an asshole.
Well, we have this podcast as proof, but
yeah, that's true.
Does any
you were
of this
33rd on our list, so
you know, I feel like none of this ever ends. Everybody's gonna get canceled eventually. Next thing you know, country singers will have consequences for drunkenly yelling out the N-word in their parking.
Yeah,
in their driveway or whatever. Yeah,
driveway on video.
Well, yeah, it makes sense. But anyway, let's. We got a great guest today. Let's get on with the podcast here. One of our favorite comedians and also a guy who shouts the N-word in his driveway, Jose Bolanos.
Oh you are trying to get me canceled, bro. Come on. I will never.
We're kidding. He doesn't have a driveway.
Oh, come on.
All right.
Jose's never had a drink in his life.
Ever. No.
Have you? It's been forever, man. You know, I think it's been 2 4th of Julys ago.
Yeah, I think you're right. Almost 2 years. Year and a half. More, yeah.
There.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that was the last time? That's trippy. You're right though.
I really regret not going down for that Thanksgiving show or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That would be,
I wondered how you guys were going to perform that night because we were all wasted, man. I mean, we had I mean, we were on a mission that day, you know, 4th of July with the sun, cool time.
Oh, it was a great time.
Barbecue.
We didn't have to perform that day. That's what happened.
Oh yeah,
because it was the 4th of July, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's right. You were performing the rest of the weekend.
I think that's why we got wasted. I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're responsible comedians that take our job seriously and never do drugs or alcohol before a set.
Or after.
I think they believed us. All right.
That's the night we went to that pool party, and then I yelled at the guy for not letting me into the bar. So.
Ooh,
and you got the cops called on you a couple times there. Yeah.
I did get the police called on me, Jose, after I left your house that night.
Did you get arrested?
No,
they don't do that to me.
To white people, yeah.
Oh yeah, you're white. I forgot about that. Must be nice.
Corey likes to get the cops called him on purpose just to test it every once in a while.
And then he's like, "Look, I'm a teacher," and they're like, "Oh, okay."
And you're white? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, it's honestly the only thing I ever worried about. I did this as a tweet a while back. I don't know if it's been funny, but maybe Jose, you can speak to this. When I got my driver's license, right, I heard about I've heard since about all these other kids that their parents were like, "Hey, when you get pulled over, 10 and 2, roll down your window a little bit, turn off the music, don't make any sudden movements." My parents were always just like, "Make sure you have a litter bag in your car because it's illegal to not have one." Oh, thanks for
yeah. Appreciate the advice. I don't know. I remember my dad, my dad's like a very straight and arrow, totally nice guy, very nerdy. So I do remember him always telling me, like, if you ever speak with a police officer, just do everything they say. But I feel like that was more my dad's personality than rather than to be like, hey,
training.
Yeah. And I didn't realize at the time, but I did experience like a little bit of racism. I went to a private Catholic school with a bunch of white kids. So it was like me and there was one black family. So I remember being called names, but I also thought I was white in a weird way. So I thought it was funny. And I was like, yeah, sure, blah, blah, blah. Of course, later on, I'm like, oh, yeah, that was not nice at all.
Oh, they were being mean to me.
They were actually, yeah, that was really racist. But, I thought I was just happy to get any attention. So.
Well, now, hopefully you don't read the YouTube comments on. You're still needing the attention. Yeah. Okay. Private Catholic school, huh? Interesting. High school or all through school? Or?
Well, so I did apply for a private Catholic high school, and I got in. And midway through my freshman year, at the very beginning, the first, quarter or semester, whatever the heck we were on, my grades tanked. I was always a decent student, but once I got to high school, was more interested in the girls and being cool. And right away freshman year, and my parents were like, look, we're not going to pay all this money for you to mess around and get C- and crap. We're paying a lot of extra money for this. So they took me out right away, and they're like, no, you're going to public school, dude. And they kept my sister in private school because she was actually getting good grades. So
okay.
So at that point, I split. I went to a public school, Stadium High School in Tacoma, the same school as 10 Things I Hate About You, the Big Castle.
Yeah.
Anyone like that movie? That is where I went to high school.
That's right. And in that movie, there's two fun scenes. There's a scene, the first scene where they stop right in front of Cary Park. And there's
Cary Park. Yes.
No stop sign there, and it doesn't matter. But when you live in the place, you're like, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And then the other scene is they put an ocean, when they pan out from Stadium High School, they put an ocean with a beach, and you can see the water.
I never noticed that. I got to go back and look at that, because there is the bay there, but there's not a big, huge beach.
10 Things I Hate About This movie.
Dude, fun fact,
let's do 10 things you like about it, though. Ledger's dead. That's good.
My buddy in high school, Charlie McGovern, his parents are the ones that rented their house to the movie Their house, all the scenes that were inside the big rich person's house, like the porch that wrapped around, the big party at night, that was my buddy's house. So I remember a couple times going over there just to hang out, not like any huge ragers, but just to have like, you know, few people over. And you go downstairs and they have like autograph posters and like movie like stuff. And oh, it was so fun. It was so fun to like, especially because the movie had just like come out a few years before. So to like go to the school and to be like partying and like have, it's like, yeah, this is the, you know, it was like super cool. And I think they ended up selling the house though, like a while ago, but a few years back.
What's it like being on the radio now and having like a fan base and following, and then like being still close to where you grew up? Like I'm not famous in any way, but just having a tiny bit of notoriety in comedy and a show in my hometown has people that I went to high school with mostly just being like, oh, weird. We would have never thought.
Yeah.
What else? Do you do anything else? I'm like, I also teach history. They're like, oh, yeah. That's what we thought you were going to do. Be a nerd. But like, do you get people reaching out? Do you get people like who you had crushes on being like, hey, Jose? Or like,
I do. Well, I do. I'm shocked at how much love I've gotten. Like I mean, I'm sure people talk a bunch of shit behind my back.
I mean, I can't believe it. Yeah.
I'm sure there's tons of people that are like, I never liked him and he's annoying and blah, blah, blah. But I don't see that. I see a lot of love. A lot of people reach out. Even the other day, I had a buddy I hadn't talked to in forever who we played football together. And he messaged me about like investing or something because I made a post about it. He's like, hey, glad to see you're investing. And, you know, I've been, you know, like just being nice, you know what I mean? And some people will hit me up and be like, yo, I've had friends go, I
those body wrap things are a scam. I wouldn't buy a bunch of body wraps and try and resell them.
I've had people that listen to the show for years and were like, how did I not realize that was you? Or like, oh yeah, like that was just kind of very rare. Cause like when you hear my laugh, you're like, that's Jose. But so yeah, it's been really, really cool. The funny thing is about like high school crushes is I keep thinking back to like, I had a couple, there was like maybe one or two that like moved out of state, but like the majority of the girls that I thought were like super attractive in high school that I still follow now on Facebook aren't really anymore. Or most of them are married with kids, you know, obviously. So I have had a couple girls though from like the past that curbed me that are in the DMs now, but you know, I'm like, you had your chance. I'm bitter.
I Googled you because I was trying to find out. I sent you to the wrong email, by the way. I said it was like jabroni or something. I don't know what.
Oh yeah, that's actually that's a really old email. That's another one I didn't check because I don't check that one a lot. But I made that when I was in 8th grade. Huge fan of The Rock, and jabroni was his thing. And you know, little did I know he was going to be a superstar for the rest of my life. You know, so. Yeah, I have jabroni. I own it, buddy. I mean, I don't think it's the correct spelling, but it's damn close. So I remember I thought that was cool in 8th grade. Like, haha, I don't have any numbers.
That's great. I don't know why it's the only email I have for you, but it just came up. That's why I texted you this morning because I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not.
And I checked my work one too, and I'm like, no. I'm like, yeah, no. I'm glad you got the right one now, bro.
Yeah. You're like that. You get embarrassed every time you give out your email. You're like, well.
You know, I also answer the phones at the radio station when we do contests, and it is really funny to get some people's emails because you can hear it in their voice, and they're like, "Shark Dick 69."
Yeah.
At you know,
no email accounts are free, right?
Yeah. I had to call like Xbox customer support one time, and then they're like, "What's your gamer tag?" And I'm like, "I pwn noobs 97, you know, whatever it was, you know." And you're like, "I'm gonna change that." That's pretty, you know.
Well, I googled to see if maybe there was like a way, like it would, I don't know, be on the internet somewhere, your real email. But I first wrote, I put an H instead of a J, so I wrote Hose Bolanos, which was fun.
Great.
I don't know what that.
I'm so glad you're a teacher.
It was just a penis. It was just your penis, and Then I wrote Jose Bolanos in the first three things. Okay, so it was Jose Bolanos. Is there another Jose Bolanos of notoriety that you're aware of?
Yes.
Okay.
So I've asked my dad about this, but I don't think we've gone in depth about it. But there is a guy out there who used to date Marilyn Monroe, and she took him to like the Golden Globes or the Academy Awards. And this guy looks exactly like my dad, you guys. Like I see him and I'm like, that is my dad. Like it looks like my dad when he was younger. And I've asked him about it and he's kind of like laughed it off. But
well, we know you're not related to Marilyn Monroe, at least, because the looks did not transfer. If it did,
I mean, look, I have this, but I have a beauty mark. Who knows? I am.
Oh, that's herpes, actually. But
I'm pretty slutty. Yeah, that too. Who knows?
Beauty mark's funny because we have this whole surface area of a body and face, and someone's like, "That's my beauty mark." Oh, the rest. So that was the third thing that came up was Jose Bolanos, Marilyn Monroe. Second was Jose Bolanos laugh. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then first was Jose Bolanos net worth.
Wow, that's crazy. You know, somebody
people want to know
what came up. You tell me.
Oh, I was negative. There was
That's accurate. Yeah, I owe a lot of people money.
No, I didn't click on it. I didn't feel like that was.
Oh, you weren't interested. You're not.
Is there QAnon's working on a conspiracy about how it's a fake laugh and?
Oh, I'm actually kind of insulted that you didn't think I was worth like 50 million and didn't click on it.
I didn't want to know if you were. I guess.
You don't think I have this dirty fan behind me? My choice.
I think I thought like, what answer would be what I want to see? I don't, I want you to be successful, but I don't want you killing it too hard.
Well,
also I got you your first gig at a casino, so I feel like you owe me some of the royalties.
Totally. It's like you invested in me. It's like some kind of long-term percentage I'm going to owe you one day.
Yeah.
You know, the funny thing was that this happened to Brooke is on, who I'm on Brooke and Jeffrey in the morning, my co-host, her friend, right? This was like a year or two ago, before like COVID and everything. And they would like walk their kids to school, or I forgot, they would get together and whatever. And one of the moms one day, like it was like a group of moms, went to Brooke and was like, look, I have to be honest with you. Like, I can't believe how down to earth you are. And Brooke's like, why? And she's like, well, I'm embarrassed, but like I Googled you and your net worth came up. And I just thought, wow, it's so crazy how hands-on you are and blah, blah, blah. And now you live with us. And so you're so humble for what you're worth. She's like, what do you mean? And she was worth some ridiculous, like $60 million or like some 30 million, like some crazy number. And this lady honestly was like, wow, she's so humble. Like she still walks her kids to school. She's so nice. And it's like, no, dude, that's not right. I mean, knowing Brooke, she could be worth a couple million, but I don't know about fucking 60.
Yeah, I typed in Jose Bolanos and it said, did you mean Jubal? And so that's weird.
we're gonna go to your Wikipedia and just change your net worth and
oh yeah, I have a Wikipedia page too.
People are gonna be like, wow, he's so nice for being worth 100 million.
I just make all this money and nobody knows.
That'll work. You're gonna start getting dates and then have to be like, shit.
Dude, that is true. Money. I should ask girls to Google my net worth and see if it's like a huge number.
Yeah.
Then same thing though. They'd be so confused and they come to this apartment. They'd be like, what? Like,
so the guy that dated Marilyn Monroe is worth 18 million apparently.
Oh, maybe they're looking for his net worth.
Oh, yeah. You may be right, because he was like some director or something.
Yeah, screenwriter, director. His biggest claim to fame was his relationship with Marilyn Monroe. That's kind of a shitty thing to write on someone's bio.
Dude, that's like Pete Davidson's biggest claim to fame is Ariana.
Yeah.
Which actually, as comedians, we all know isn't true. But, there's a bunch of Gen Zers out there that really wouldn't know who he was if that didn't happen. I mean, we've all known his work and, especially the New York comedy scene. That guy's a grinder, but
That's funny. That's interesting.
Right.
He also Kate Beckinsale for a minute or something, right? It's crazy.
Dude, I'm gonna do it. I'm doing it right now. I'm googling Jose Bolanos. You're right. First thing, net worth. Let's see what I'm worth. Wikipedia page.
Jose.
Height, weight, net worth. No, this is other dude.
Yeah.
Come on.
So yeah, that guy's worth 61 million.
I don't know mine. It's funny because I think that people too, there's like it's all your assets, right? Like
That's
my
weird.
house
Sorry.
counts. No, that's all right.
I'm worth negative $30,000. So.
No, I literally am on peoplepill.com and there's like a whole bio of me and like, oh, it's probably just maybe it's pulled from Wikipedia probably, and then it looks like someone went in and did a whole thing, but now I bet never mind. I bet the computer did that.
Peoplepill.com. I hope they
Apparently
don't
I
find
have a
out
bio
what kind
there.
of pills you're taking. That'd be embarrassing.
Human pills. It's the cannibalist site.
Penis pills.
Anyway, all right. I'm not Googling myself anymore. That was fun. I don't think
Someone sent me a message and said my nude photos are on some celebrity website. And I was like, they're like, do you want me to take them down? I was like, I'm just happy people consider me a celebrity. So that's fine.
Yeah, I'm getting more clicks than on my other sites.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was like, I'm your biggest fan. I share all your videos. I was like, which videos?
I got to ask you guys, have you ever Googled yourselves?
Yeah, I guess.
Like genuinely curious or?
Google image search. I've done that.
Okay.
Because like there's all sorts of like, where did this, there's like for a long time, there was like MySpace photos at the top.
Yeah.
Just like me, like at a bar. Because like comedy clubs were using this weird picture of me at a bar.
Yeah.
Like me just being like, with like
Weird.
no facial hair, a little bit of hair on my head. And I was like, this is 8 years ago. I was married.
I got headshots, man. Come on.
No doubt, right? So I was like, how is this happening? So I've done that. I used to do Twitter searches for Mr. Michaelis because I wanted, like when I was teaching, I was curious, like, hey, what's the scuttlebutt about me? And
what are your kids saying about you? Yeah.
I'd heard something. So I was like, all right, I better go look. And it was like,
you're so petty, dude. The kids are gossiping and you're like, oh, well, what are they saying?
Yeah. There was a kid in my class.
Mr. Michaelis always wears his gray sweatpants to yoga class or whatever. You're like, all right, well, some of the rumors are true.
This is world history, dude. He does yoga.
You're just up there doing fucking. I can't get my leg that high, but.
The area always trying.
Pull the hamstring.
A student in my class who seems to like me just fine and was just talking all this shit on Twitter. And not getting any like reactions either. So I was just like, what's the goal here? But
he's just a vent. Yeah, kids.
Yeah, I never confronted them. Just whatever. It was fine.
I know I makes us all feel old, and we've all heard it, but I'm so glad we didn't have Twitter, dude, when we were younger, dude. Like, like you said, I'm sure everyone's gonna get canceled for some stupid reason eventually anyway. But like, I'm sure I went through phases where I was angry, and I'm sure I would have just.
I'm surprised like the radio station hasn't had to like. Do they have they? Because I was almost on like a stand-up show for NBC, and they had like a investigative search into my Twitter, and they're like, "Hey, we found some things you might want to see," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's an old joke. That probably is insensitive," and I get but I'm interested. The radio station has never done any of that stuff, or
maybe they have, but there's really not a lot. Yeah. I know a while ago I deleted just old stuff that was just stupid stuff that never went anywhere anyway. Other characters I was working on, and there was an accent I was trying and stuff like that, and so I've just deleted clutter and stuff just already. Nothing like I've never
right.
But I have one time I wrote a joke. I think this is okay to talk about. I wrote a joke on my Facebook page that was like, it was a stereotype joke, which is, you guys know a lot. I do a lot like on stage. and it was like a dick joke. And the punchline was like, no, I'm not. Like, little do they know, if that's the case, I would be more Asian, and it was about a smaller dick or whatever. I mean, I forgot it. It was, it got a lot of reaction, actually, like positive and funny. And but one person emailed the station and said, hey, look, I'm an Asian guy. I've had this stereotype following my whole life. And it perpetuates that stereotype. And they were really angry. And the station brought to my attention, and I took it down. I wrote a personal email to the guy and said, look, I'm a stand-up comedian. Not all of my jokes are very funny to everybody. And I do a lot of stereotypes. I never do anything hateful, but I definitely have done impressions and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I lean into, that joke, and I apologize. And the guy was like, never responded or anything, but hopefully they were okay with it. So, I did that. Maybe I didn't have to go and do that, but I just wanted to make sure, like, dude, I'm never out here to insult anybody. I want to be that guy that can just make fun of everyone, including myself.
Yeah.
But that's hard to do.
You sent a picture of your penis and you're like, hey, I mean, come on.
I'm small dick also. We're fine. I'm not.
Dude, and the worst part, you guys, was like the comedian in me. Like, obviously I didn't make any more jokes, and like I said, I hope this person was okay. But the email they gave us was a dry cleaners that I think they owned. So they emailed me from a dry cleaner saying, hey, blah, blah. And I'm just like,
hey, Asian stereotypes are very harmful. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, geez, man, there's always going to be the comedian in me that's like, oh, dude, if Dave Chappelle had this material or somebody, they'd go crazy with it.
Well, you're like, what are you trying? Are you testing me?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, come on, another stereotype. And of course, I'm not going to make fun of anything, but it was, as the comic in me, I was like, oh, that's another layer, of course.
Right. You were like, you can change your email, right? Mine's super own.
Well, the truth is I felt awful because I'm like, dude, that does suck. Like, there are people out there that are like, dude,
yeah, it would
funny.
suck to own a dry cleaner, but
in these times,
must suck to own a profitable business during this time. The first time I got booked at Morty's, Steve Hofstetter was there. I opened for him in Tacoma, and he was like talking about, oh yeah, we just have a thing you could submit on a website. And I was like, oh, cool. And so I submitted, and then he called me like 10 minutes later, and he was like, dude, you could have just asked me directly. And I was like, oh, I just wanted to go through the proper channel. He goes, yeah, I just have one joke that I think you should drop, and but it's totally your call. And I was like, and it was basically the same thing of like, my girlfriend posted back to long and dark, and it feels so good. And I was like, oh, I thought she was banging a black guy, but it was just daylight savings time. She was banging an Asian guy or whatever it was. And so I was like, he's like, I totally get it. You want to keep the joke. I respect it. And I'm like, dude, I hate that joke, and fucking let's get rid of it. I don't care.
It's a quick laugh. It's got the surprise punchline to it. But overall, and I also think that overall, any impressions or anything that I was doing, it wasn't essential. I mean, as someone who does impressions and works on impressions and ethnicities and things and characters, I should be able to just be like, look, I'm not going to do any of these anymore, and I'm going to advance and progress and do more maybe topical and you know, more easily acceptable accents. It's not like I can only do 2 or 3 accents and like I have to do an Asian accent on stage, and there's no, So I mean, there's things that I think everyone needs to like learn. It does suck in that way, but at the same time, it's like, well, we can't be lazy as comics and as society. So
speaking of which, you mentioned kind of wanting to replace your act. Are there any new bits you're working on or new ideas for jokes?
So there's a new idea that I have. I'm trying to work on it for the station too. My producer may be mad that I'm even mentioning this, but
no one listens this far into the podcast. So
no one listens this far. Yeah. We're 30-40 minutes in, whatever.
They tuned out after the failed clap button at the beginning.
It's just us. We're just hanging out, dude. I love it.
High production. What is it? Yeah.
There's an idea that I had, which I think would be one of those common ideas, but I'm pretty good. I'm getting better at the impression. Is David Attenborough from Planet Earth. And I have a concept for like, like a kind of like a Planet Human kind of thing where he's introducing like even a decade or like a generation, and so it could be like a millennial, like, and here we have Laura, she's
That's
been
really good impression.
on her couch for 3 days on TikTok, like, and that way
I
it's
like it a lot.
like this. If we were a docu-series, what would
Dude,
they
I love
think about
those.
us?
I've been watching the Planet. What is it? Planet at Night or something like that. And I'm like,
Oh,
how do they get these cameras that make it look like daytime, and it's like pitch black or whatever? I always think about like, do animals notice like the camera, like a drone, or are they like, what is this thing following us or whatever?
Do they check how many clicks they got?
That thing we do.
Yeah.
Humans.
Yeah, I'm on this new show, Discovery Channel. I'm not trying to brag. Netflix. Kind of a big deal. I'd still use it as a TV. Andrew hasn't left the house in 3 days. Yeah, I'm on TV. Woo.
Well, I'm excited to work on that. I may turn it into like a parody, like commercial or something for our show too. But I think it would translate really well onto the stage, especially if I'd already had some kind of crowd work formed or some kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Rapport with the crowd. I can call back and be like, and here's David. What beers in the front row won't shut the fuck up.
That's great. That's amazing. That's amazing.
But dude, I've been practicing for the first time.
You can just narrate anything with that voice, and it's really fucking cool.
Andrew and Corey. They are
very lonely recording a podcast that no one listens to. Exactly.
Message me or Andrew if you've heard any of this. Just if anybody's listening right now, send me a message.
We'll give you $1,000 and a free vaccine if you just mention.
But it's cool because I'm practicing impressions that I don't know for the first time since before, like in probably 10 years, to be honest, because all the jokes that I wrote and the impressions that I've done were already things that I had been practicing and doing since I was a kid in high school. So it was like impressions that I knew. I was already working on them just because I was a weird kid, and I would look in the mirror and I would practice faces and impressions like for hours just for no reason.
Well, it's because you didn't have any real friends. You're like, I gotta imagine my friends and give them different voices.
So even trying to learn David Attenborough and like Adam Sandler's one, I've been practicing because I do this new thing on my social media called Impression of the Week, where I'm trying to force myself to learn new impressions and do them.
That's awesome.
And someone said Adam Sandler, and so I've been looking at videos of Adam Sandler, and he's like hard. And it was like the first time in forever that I literally by myself in my apartment listened to it, said it, and just felt uncomfortable as hell. Like that was awful. Like, but I don't have, you guys know, like, I kind of like, I've always leaned on certain impressions. So it's always been so easy, second nature. So to really try to grow, it's been different, because especially Adam Sandler, he doesn't like make sense. He has like, hey, kind of baby, and then he gets louder and eventually he's like, come on, like there's so much more to him. So
how thin are your walls? I feel like your neighbors got to be like, who the fuck is living next door to us? It's fucking Adam Sandler.
They hear me
it's
laugh,
fucking
I'm sure they know.
Dr. Seuss. It's fucking
Well, I'm glad that you're switching to doing stereotypical impressions of white guys. I think that's safer.
Yeah, that's way safer, dude. Oh man, white people
can't get canceled.
You're gonna be fine.
Yeah, and they love it. Actually, they love being made fun of. It's great.
It's good. I've never even thought to try or do impressions. Is it like you said, you just kind of worked on them when you were a kid, but now is there like I don't know, is there stuff you can learn to get better at that? Is there like
it's really
tips or I don't know.
It's a lot of studying. You have to pull up like a clip of a movie or something that's like, if you want to create an impression, like a lot of them are already known, like Christopher Walken, like, I need more cowbell, like that's, everyone has seen that scene. I think that if you want to create an impression, you need to look up the most, like one of the most common lines from that person in a movie or a TV show. Like the other day on the radio show, they were like, Jose, quick, Tony Danza. And the only thing I can think of is from Who's the Boss, and he's like, Angela, Samantha. And that's the only thing I know, but they were laughing because I knew the 2 words. It's like, who's the boss here? It's so bad. But oh yeah, Angela, like, or whatever. It's just, so I think when you want to learn something, like if I wanted to do a Corey Michaelis impression, I would look up Corey's most viewed joke online. And I, just what's up with that, guys? Or whatever Corey does. I don't know. That's more Jerry Seinfeld. That was Jerry. Now, what's the deal with Corey Michaelis?
Corey's most used phrase is, I swear this doesn't happen all the time. And,
yeah, so I think that's the key. But, people that do impressions have the ear. It's a weird, like Justin Russell.
So it sounds like you get like a level 1 impression is getting the first thing. And then you can go, now how do I translate that to whatever sentence?
You start with like 1 word, even like Donald Trump is super popular, no matter if you're, what side you're on. And he would be like, huge. This is huge. China. You practice one silly, stupid word, and then you try to make it form a sentence eventually. But and obviously repetition is key. And then the thing is that the memory just sticks with you. Like when you're doing an impression, I'm a photographic memory. So I have a picture in my head of who I'm doing or what this person I created that I'm doing. So even with phone tap characters and stuff, when I'm talking, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I know who I am, like who that person is. I'm picturing something. So
I would, and do you listen back to your, like, or do you just hear you say it?
I need to get better at that, unless it's like the phone taps and stuff, but I don't really do a lot of celebrity impressions there. That's more of like, same thing, like accents and characters I've already created.
Character, yeah.
But like I have a character named Clover, and really in my head, he's just Jason Statham. But on the air, it's like, boy, my name's Clover, Roy. He's like a military, really gritty, sure, very serious about everything. I had for breakfast, I had a raw potato. Like that, he's just a badass. But in my head, it's Jason Statham, or like my Rolando would be Antonio Banderas, like, oh, my lover, hello, I'm Rolando. Like, it's just, I'm that person, and I'm speaking. Gotcha.
My brother looks Statham-esque a little bit.
I can see that. You look kind of Statham-esque.
Maybe a little, yeah.
Once he takes his shirt off, oh boy.
Then Kevin James-esque.
I for sure would like, of course I don't do it, but I feel like I would dip into like, because any impression I ever do, it just sounds Russian. Like I'm like a Pakistani person, and it's just like Russian. It's all Russian.
This is Ronald McDonald. Like impression.
Yeah, like, that's not Pakistani. I don't know. So I would just slip into the wrong one. I feel like every once in a while. So that's interesting that you say you're like you got to really picture the look of what you're speaking.
Absolutely. Well, and it does happen where if someone's doing a rapid fire, sometimes it is like, wait, that sounded more like that Clover character I was talking about. Sometimes he sounds more Australian than British. I'm like, Roy, then, mate. And then people are like, oh, he's Australian, when, they say mate in Britain too. But, like sometimes you slip and slide. I mean, but that's also how much do you practice? I'm not as I could be. I'm not as, now I've been practicing more than ever because of these phone tabs, because comedy's coming back. I'm back on my grind again, but it's been a long time where I haven't. So I could be a lot sharper, and I'll just keep getting better. But like Justin Ruppel, I'd mentioned him earlier. He's a guy that we all know, and he's literally a professional at it now, and it's amazing. And he's never stopped practicing. I fell back on things. I wasn't doing phone taps for a long time, and so now things are progressing forward. You know what I'm saying? So
right. And I don't know all about his life, and I love Justin. He's great, but he's essentially leaned into like you said, that's his job. Can you not hear me?
You're doing
crackling.
Your thing again.
Crackling.
Plug and unplug, yeah.
Let's unplug it entirely.
There you go.
All right.
He's leaned in 100%. This is his job. This is his comedy. This is what he's doing. So it's not like I guess he's not getting up at 3 a.m. to do radio.
No, but I mean, he's got a couple big deals. He did a couple big movies, and he got like How to Train Your Dragon, like, because TJ Miller lost his, whatever, and then Justin was able to step in and do that impression on, as better than anybody else to make it sound flawless, like the transition. So, really good. And so I think that people like us, that can do impressions and like lean on that as part of humor. I think it's really important to practice and hone in, because when you do have an opportunity, a dream of mine to this day, if ever you were to say, Jose, what is your wildest dream? I would want to be a Disney character or a famous cartoon voice. Like imagine being SpongeBob, making millions and millions of people laugh all over the world, internationally. It's not even necessarily your image. So you could go out in public still and people wouldn't necessarily, probably enough people like, the SpongeBob guy, I would recognize him by now. But I'm just saying, I think that it would be, you'd be able to be very successful, and you'd also be able to accomplish the mission, which is my mission, is to make as many people happy and laugh as I can in my lifetime. So I think to be able to have that as still Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or a quarterly job where you record your things and you do the movie, and then every 2 years you go back and do the sequels. I think that'd be great, because you'd make a ton of money, you'd make a lot of people happy. Yeah, exactly. And it would be great. It would be cool to be like, dude, I'm SpongeBob SquarePants. I'm fucking Bart Simpson. Like, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would be. Huh.
The next one, obviously.
I've never even considered that as a, whatever.
Yeah, well, I think also my laugh, my my giggle, I feel like some kids would translate well to some cartoon character out there who's like, like I'm gonna be a squirrel or something. It's like, these are my nuts.
You do love nuts in your mouth. All right.
Yeah, nuts in my mouth. See, perfect. It writes itself.
Do the laugh as if you have nuts in your mouth. Go.
Speaking of nuts in your mouth, there was a rumor floating around on Facebook that you were dating somebody, and you're setting the record straight over there.
Yeah, I had a girl who texted me randomly and was like, wow, you get around. And I'm like, what does that mean? And I texted her like the next day. I was like, I don't get it. And she was like, yeah, I talked to this guy who said that he was like on a date, or was not even on a date, apparently was hanging out with some other girl, and they were all out hanging out. And she had said, yeah, well, Jose from the radio, him and I are talking, and it's getting really serious. And I was like, what? Because I'm not talking to anybody right now. So I was like laughing at it. So I decided to make a post about it. And this is a news update that I have not posted about.
Exclusive.
This morning, it's exclusive to your podcast. I got a message from somebody who said she lives in Scottsdale, Arizona. And she's like, I saw your post, and I just want you to know, I swear there's someone out here using your photos on Tinder that's a different name, because I saw them and I went and I showed my sister, and she was like, oh my God, that's Jose from Seattle from the radio, da 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 da. And then she's like, before I could screenshot it, I had backed out. And then I came back and you were gone. Like it refreshed or something. And I was like, what? So I don't know why you use me. I'm like a chubby.
Yeah,
I'm not like ugly, but I'm not saying I'm like fucking,
Use some better bait if you're catfishing. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, it'd be one thing if they thought, oh, well, he's got cred, but they're not using my name or my. Like,
are you on the air in Arizona at all?
We were in Phoenix and Scottsdale, but it was in the afternoons, and we weren't. That was a whole political situation where we were supposed to do mornings. The competition, one of our national competitors is on in the mornings there. So at the time, Phoenix pretty much just paid for us, put them on the station behind that morning show, so we couldn't compete side by side. It's actually really smart. So that's my theory on it, because we were only in afternoons in a few markets. So we were on the afternoons there for a little bit, and then they took us off. So we're not anymore. But that's another thing. It's like, yeah, if we were like, oh, we're number one in Phoenix, like I would get it. But Yeah, I don't know.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Corey had someone claim that he was in love with them because he liked their comment on his Instagram. So
Shut up.
I was in Tulsa, and it's a lady came out to the lobby, and she's like, "Can't wait for you to perform. Here with my friend, and my friend. She came to kind of like, meet you, and you guys are gonna hang out or whatever." And I was like, "No, I don't. No, that's not a thing. That wouldn't make no sense." And she goes,
didn't make plans with anyone.
"Well," she said, she wrote like, "It's a date." On a comment when she said she was coming to your show, and then you hearted it. So, and I was like, "Oh, no,
that doesn't mean that."
That is not what that means. And then they drunkenly left the show before, like as I was finishing my closer. I could see him in the back, and I was like, "This is the perfect scenario."
Good. Yeah.
Sometimes people are confused, I guess, but. Andrew has been claiming he's dating so many people that he's not. So he's the other end. So maybe we should ask him. What's it like on that end? No,
I got a lot of failed attempts right now, but just failure to launch. But there's a girl in Colorado that texts me every day, but I'm like, this isn't real until we're in the same city. Like, it doesn't mean anything.
I like to flirt. I like to sex, but like, I don't really get serious with people. I mean, there's girls that I'm like, oh, if you're kinky, you want to talk or say hi, exchange.
That's fun.
Like, that's always cool. But like, honestly, it's the people are always like, oh, well, there's a fine line with me. I complain about not finding love because I want a wife and kids someday. But people take that as Jose can't find a date. And that's the farthest from the truth. And it sounds braggy, but like I constantly get asked out. I wake up to messages, inbox, hey, you're cute. The thing is it's just like what hot girls go through. The people that message me, I'm not attracted to. Like, if 95%, I mean, there are a couple wild exceptions, but like 90% of the time, if you're inboxing me, I'm probably not interested. Like I'm very picky already, but it's not like there's gorgeous women, Victoria's Secret models that are like, hey, I'm a huge fan of your girly giggle, Jose, and you should come to our next, like, it doesn't happen, like, I'm very much like, I appreciate the love. I appreciate the fans. There's been girls on Snapchat that are in other states that listen and say, or, even in Canada that are like, I'm going to fly out and see you. And I'm like, don't, like, no, this is not, I'm not taking it serious. I don't know you.
I get that once in a while too, where I'm like, no, just
it's still stranger danger.
When I'm in Tucson, we can hang out maybe, but let's not get crazy,
And I've had that where I'm like, yo, if I'm in your town, like I'll come to the show and maybe we can hang out. But
we'll grab a drink or whatever, see what happens. But don't fly. Then you have to stay here and you're going to be.
And then I'm going to feel bad when I'm like, I don't want to spend every day with you on the weekend. Like,
because also like sometimes like, you do a closer investigation in the photo and you're like, oh, the teeth are kind of weird or whatever's going on.
Of course. We're both.
If you came up to me in person, I'd be like, I decline now, so.
Totally.
But I was thinking about this actually kind of a joke I was thinking about red flags. Like what I judge a girl based on the first drink she orders, like on a date. Like what, like if a girl orders shots, you're like, this is probably a red flag. But if it's a body shot, that's great. That's a good sign, But if she orders water, I'm like, oh, she's scared of me.
My body? Oh God.
Yeah. She's a bad decision maker. Red flag.
She orders water.
If she orders the water, she's like scared of me or worried I'm gonna drug her, or she's planning on sneaking out the bathroom window in 5 minutes or whatever.
Exactly. She needs to stay hydrated for the sprint.
For the sprint when I chase her, come back. I don't know if you thought, what kind of drinks would be might set you like a Bloody Mary, or I don't know if you have a certain drink.
Well, caps on them.
Any girl
that Rainier and a shot, and you're like, all right, let's cool it.
Any girl that drinks Bloody Marys means she likes to day drink, so that's always a good sign. And same with mimosas.
Oh, you went with good there. Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. That's my type, at least. That's a better way. Probably a bad sign, but that's my type.
If it's a martini, she's a gold digger.
Yeah. And I think vodka cran is like safe. You know, that's like a typical.
She's got a yeast infection or whatever. And,
if not now, she's about to.
I know. It's no, oh, Jesus.
Hey-o.
If she drinks enough of them, she will.
Oh boy.
So yeah, I don't know. Definitely, I don't think this has ever happened. But if a girl were ever to order like an adios motherfucker on a date, I would be appalled.
You would adios motherfucker.
Yeah, I would be like, Jesus, I don't want to hold your hair, and I know you're gonna.
Well, after you fuck her.
Oh God.
What was your Andrew? What was your? These really like to calm me. I like to calm down with the Hulk. Incredible.
Oh yeah, Incredible Hulk was always a thing.
Like I just have to
Oh yeah.
a couple nightcaps or something.
Yeah. I like a nice adios motherfucker while I read a book in a candle in the bath, you know, like that's a whole like it's like that's not a drink where you're gonna just
Never
relax.
No, that's like I don't want to remember the tonight.
Yeah, the Incredible Hulk, I've blacked out. I've only had an Incredible Hulk like 2 or 3 times, and every time I do it, I black out because it's Hennessy and Hypnotic. Yeah. It turns it all green, and it's oh boy, just
that was popular like 20 years ago too, man. It's funny.
That's when I used to black out. Yeah, that's what happened.
Story checks out.
Been a couple years toning it down, but yeah.
Dude, same with me. I don't know if you guys know, but I haven't drank in over a year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I never published it really or talk about it, but it's been wait, what's the date today? Okay, it's been
March 7th.
It's been
well, I relapsed 2 days ago, but didn't drink for a year. So
it's been over a year and 4 months.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, so it's been dope. I smoke a lot of weed, but other than that,
have you lost weight and like?
I actually did. I lost a bunch of weight. I've been I'm on like kind of like a hybrid keto diet because I'm a type 2 diabetic, so I try to watch my sugar intake.
Great.
But I'm not really strict on it. Like during the week, I'm always good, and then the weekends, I just kind of throw it out the window. Like for during the week, I fast. I don't eat after like 8, and I don't eat until like 1 p.m. So like 1 to 9.
Yeah. Wow.
And then I eat a lot healthier, a lot more like, grains and, less sugar stuff and whatever. But then on the weekends, I eat whatever the hell I want. And I start eating at like 8, 9 a.m. because I start smoking weed when I wake up. So I like got the munchies. And so it's like a weird, like almost diet. I don't stick with it all the time, but it's always like Monday, Tuesday, I'm back on the horse. And then by Wednesday, Thursday, I feel great. And then I eat pizza on Saturdays, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm fat again.
Yeah, I don't smoke weed, but I drink a lot. So,
Heyo.
Well, we were talking about it yesterday. You're not shooting beers, and you're mostly just sipping cocktails.
Yeah, it's all hard alcohol for me mostly.
Probably not a ton of booze weights on you.
Probably some bloating, I imagine, that's going on, but not a lot of like sugar.
Yeah.
But who knows? It's
Carbs.
all fucking.
It all turns into it. That was another thing where my blood sugars went down tremendously after I stopped drinking every day, because you take a shot and a shot, it converts into sugar. So you're just taking a little shot of sugar, little shot of sugar, however you break it down. Could be like 0 calorie or whatever. Still, anyway.
Yeah, it's not like I'm pouring vodka into a juicer with celery, carrots, and
totally.
So it's not like good for me, but it's not as bad as beer. Probably.
No, absolutely, no, totally. Like it's not like you're especially drinking like rum. They say vodka is the best thing if you're gonna drink. Vodka is the best if you're gonna drink.
I always drink absinthe. You know what I mean? Just. It burns all the calories and my esophagus on the way down.
Have you guys ever drank absinthe, like hallucinated?
I didn't hallucinate, but Yeah, I drank way too much one time at a thing, and
I've never done it. I've had friends that did it and everything. I've never known anyone to like actually hallucinate. I swear it's like a tall tale.
I'm not much of a hallucinator. I've done I did some mushrooms, I did some DMT, and you see colors and stuff, but nothing really
You done DMT? That's interesting. I did mushrooms a bunch in high school, but nothing ever since, man. I'm pretty straight edge, dude.
Well, I was opening for Shane Moss, and I'm really kind of nervous Nelly about drugs, but I was like, this is the guy to do it with, because he's got a Netflix special about drugs. So I was like, all right, well, all he does is interview scientists about hallucinogenics. So I was like, I think he'll know if I'm tripping balls or whatever. He'll give me the right amount. Yeah.
Well, I hope you can get back. You got type 2 diabetes. You should get that vaccine soon, huh? Or I don't know how it works.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny too, because my sugar numbers are down so much that hopefully in the next 6 months I can even get off my meds. Like, stop drinking, eating healthier has been good. And when the summer hits and I'm going on walks again more and doing stuff like that, more active, it's going to help a lot. But just in general, and I want the vaccine so I can tour. I've already been talking to a couple clubs and I have things set up, and I know there's lots of radio fans out there that want me to come to their cities, and can't wait to set something up, where we're in Chicago and we're in, different places, San Antonio and Portland, and a lot of requests. So that's going to be really fun. And I think rewriting my set is going to be key, because now I can intertwine those phone tap characters, tell their stories, how they came about, write jokes based around more the radio, my new role on the show and stuff like that too. So it doesn't necessarily have to just be, a lot of my jokes were still like, hey guys, what's up? My name's Jose, if you don't know me. And those were jokes that I wrote when I was like an opener and nobody did know. Now, like being a headliner, I realize people are buying tickets to see me, so I don't need to introduce myself to the crowd anymore. Like stupid things like that, where you're like, well, no shit. It's like, they know who you are, most of them, or their friend brought them, and they're like, this is the dude I listen to every day, or however they heard me. They've been to a show before. He's really funny, and it's all thanks to Andrew Rivers, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
he
discovered
me. He introduced me to my first agent, and got me my first casino gig, and
wow.
I'm just leaving it.
There you have it, everybody. You know who to blame. We're glad we're gonna call you Sugar Daddy, I think.
I'm surprised they haven't canceled me over my role in Jose's fame. I'm gonna have to put out an apology video. I'm sorry, I didn't realize what this would turn into. I just thought it was a little casino because no one would find out.
Andrew and I, right before everything, and hopefully again when things reopen more so, have kind of started to figure out how to sell tickets and take advantage of the minor notoriety we had from like our dry bar. So like I assume you can do things like post on Instagram, tweet, stories, that kind of stuff, and really get tickets moving. But we can help you take advantage even a little bit more probably of your notoriety in those cities and target your ads and things like that. So calling us to help, we're happy to help. We'd love to help you. Andrew made like a video of how to do it, I think. So anyway, you'll and it's so much fun to perform for people that are like have chosen to come to see you. It's just
it's
different world.
It's way different. I talked to a really, really, really amazing comedian, a guy I look up to. I think we all do, Gabriel Rutledge. And he told me once, it was years ago, and he literally was like, dude, Jose, you doing this radio thing? Because our radio show's been #1 for a long time. He's like, dude, people already know your name. Like, however we got to it. He said, look, I've been a professional comedian for decades. Most people still don't know who I am, but my job is to go on stage and to be funny right away and get them to know I'm funny. This guy's funny. Start them out, get their confidence, and then take them on the ride. He's like, people that like you, that they already know your name, you can approach it a little bit differently because they're there kind of to see you. And it was like that's when I was transitioning, into like becoming a feature more.
He was like, stop being so funny at the start of the show. Calm down.
No, but I think what he was like, it was more of an attest to him because he's such a funny guy. He's so amazing at what he does. And to be able to think, like, in my head, he's a legend, but to be able to think like, certain people don't know who he is. Like, you bought the headlining ticket, and he's going to be maybe 10 times funnier than this YouTuber or this famous guy in a movie that you've seen, or this, new podcast, or, than Joe Rogan. Like, this guy may be way funnier than Joe Rogan. You've never heard of him, but he's been doing comedy for 20 years as a headliner. So it really does, you have to know as a comedian, like, what your audience is. We've always said that since we were open micers, read your audience. And so I do know now my audience is a lot different than it used to be. My audience now is people want to get drunk and they want to hear me laugh in real life, but make sure it's real. They want to hear stories about how I got on the radio and my love life. And then they want to hear how I'm an idiot and I embarrass myself and I don't blend in with my own family because I'm so white. So people, that's what they like. And so, yeah, that's as I'm learning and I'm growing as a comic. It still blows my mind that Gabriel Rutledge, by the way, if he ever hears this, that he isn't like one of the most famous people with 5 Netflix specials. Because I swear everything that guy's ever done, I've seen live, everything he's ever posted, I've never seen anything not be funny. It's just, I have the utmost respect for him. So when he said that, I remember being like, wow, that's a really good perspective. Like, it was something along those lines. I was also probably really drunk. So he's probably going to be like, I never said that.
I told you to quit comedy. So I don't know.
But that's how I took it, Gabriel Rutledge. So thank you.
Great. Hey, man, no matter where you are in the country, you can listen online actually to radio shows, but Jose is worth a follow on all the things. Hilarious Jose. Please. On all of the social media accounts, and then Brooke and Jeffrey.com, Brooke and Jeffrey in the morning, and Jose is on that program that's syndicated. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's in cities all over.
It's syndicated. It's syndicated even to Edmonds, Canada.
Canada. So.
It's a new city I invented.
And Andrew
in Ottawa and Edmonds, the 2 famous Canadian cities.
Andrew J. Rivers on all the things. I'm Corey Michaelis Comedy on all the things. This is Homeschool. Thanks so much, Jose. Bye, everybody.
Love you guys. Mwah.
Perfect ending.